Hey people of the VC, it's Andy, Cloudy and Milder back with episode 11 of It Came From The Inbox. So this is where I'm showing things that I've picked up recently. I say recently, I could have had some of this stuff for a long time, but stuff I've really just got around to listening and getting to know before it actually goes within the main collection on the shelf. So episode 11, and I do 7 albums per video. So that's, by the end of this, that's 77 albums that have gone through this process since I started this, and the inboxes are still a good 80%, 90% full. It is a sickness. I am sure you're all in the same support groups as me, but we keep doing it, and I keep doing these videos. So let's just jump in. Enough waffle. Bat from 2019. This is on Hell's Headbangers, a US supergroup of sorts, really. This is Ryan Waste from Municipal Waste, Felix Griffin, the DRI drummer, and a guy called Nick Poulos from Vulture, who I am not familiar with, but if you are, let me know in the comments and I'll go and check them out if you reckon it's worth it. Excuse me. These are a sort of blackened speed thrash type band with gravelly vocals, kind of Venom meets Motorhead. It's a 6-track EP. It plays at 44 RPM of all things. I say 6 tracks. Slash of the Blade is barely a track. It's only a few seconds long, but this is absolutely killer stuff. I've seen some people show some Bat before, but this is my entry point into the band. Hell's Headbangers always put together good quality release. This is on good card stock, and there we have the lyrics and the label. I'm not sure. I think these were limited to 1,000 on black vinyl. You can see there it says 44 RPM just to the left. Interesting. Sounds just as good at 45. I can certainly recommend it at 45 as well, if you're so inclined. So that's Bat, Ecstasy. This one, so this was some VCLT I got from Darcy a few months back. I gave it a spin at the time. I put it in the inbox, fully intended to go back to it quickly, but in the inbox it stayed until a week or so ago when I pulled it out again. I thought I really must give that a spin and get to know it a little bit better. So this is Apocalypse from Primal Fear, 2018 on Frontiers Music. This is German power metal in the vein of early Halloween, Gamma Ray, Iron Savior. In fact, Ralph Sheepers, whose band this is, he left Gamma Ray. I think he left Gamma Ray to audition for Judas Priest, and either didn't get an audition or didn't get that job, and then formed Primal Fear after it. This is a 12th album, but this is the only album that I've heard so far. I'm a big fan of this style of German power metal. But I'm also very kind of blinkered when it comes to German power metal. I like this style. I'm not into the sort of symphonic stuff or the folky stuff or any sort of variants. It's kind of got to be this kind of style. So I don't know if they're a band I'm going to really deep dive and try and get everything by, simply because I'd say the style is very similar to Gamma Ray and Iron Savior, and I have everything by them, but I would certainly not be adverse to picking up some more. So if you want to tell me where to go next with Primal Fear, I'd be interested to hear it. Favorite tracks: New Rise and Hounds of Justice, I think. But yeah, really good album. And we have you label lovers out there, custom label. So thanks again, Darcy, for that one. That was definitely a worthy add to the collection. Now this next band is called Skyrider, and I'm showing the CD because this is a band that I got introduced to. Well, I found them on Bandcamp actually, and I picked up this. This is a sort of self-released card wallet CDR from the band, 5-track EP, although again probably 4 tracks because the beginning is a very, very short intro. Was looking forward to them releasing something else other than this, and this was volume 1, and they released volume 2 very recently, and they've also got signed up to High Roller Records, and I decided to grab the vinyl copy. But when the vinyl copy arrived and I had this on CD, I also had to go back and find it on vinyl as well. Sorry, long story short, I picked up the vinyl. My OCD could not let me have a CD and a volume 1 and a album volume 2, which I'll come to in a minute. Let me tell you about Skyrider volume 1 first. Now, Skyrider, I instantly took to them because they sounded to me a lot like Seven Sisters. Now, Seven Sisters are one of my favourite new wave of traditional heavy metal bands. I've talked to them about them a lot. I've seen them live a few times. I love their albums, and I just think people should check out Seven Sisters. But if you do, also check out Skyrider because they have that similar sound. Now, what I didn't know when I was putting together this video and listening to this, it wasn't until I went on, Encyclopedia Metallum, that I actually found out that Adam Thorpe, who I think it's maybe his band, main guitarist here, he actually was in Seven Sisters. He was the bass player on the Seven Sisters self-titled album that came out in, 2015, 2016. So obviously he left Seven Sisters, went on to form Skyrider, and is the one of the guitarists on here now. But yeah, absolutely great 80s style traditional metal. The band are classed as being from Newcastle being a sort of a traditional hotbed of metal, the northeast of England as a whole. I mean, the bands like Atomcraft, Venom, Tigers of Pantan have all come from not Newcastle itself, but the northeast. Neat Records is great new wave British heavy metal labels from the northeast. So the area oozes heavy metal. So they've got good pedigree. High Roller Records, again, fantastic inner sleeve, great stock, nice thick card here. When I ordered it, it was off a third-party seller off Amazon. I presumed it would be the black vinyl that came, but it was the nice to see sort of the aquamarine, semi-opaque or semi-transparent. Let me know in the comments. Aquamarine type vinyl, which is very, very nice. But the thing that triggered it all, as I said, was that they recently released 2020 Volume 2. So yeah, so I bought this and I kind of had these together, and knowing there was a Volume 1 on vinyl out there, which was properly produced. I mean, they did a good job. They suckered me in with the CDR version, but yeah. So Volume 2 continues where Volume 1 left off, and dare I say, it actually sounds better. Midnight Rider and Mistress of Darkness, probably my two favourite songs, not only off the album, but from these guys themselves. Now, their image, kind of when I saw them live, I love modern bands playing traditional metal the way it's supposed to be played, but the spandex did originally make me think that they were perhaps like a tribute band, and this is what the kind of stuff they were wearing on stage at the time. But you know, I've bite my lip. I'm going to forgive them because the music they're playing is absolutely superb. Now, this one came on beer vinyl, and who doesn't like a good beer and some vinyl? So why not mix my two favourite things together and listen to some good tunes as well. Skyrider, check them out, and check out Seven Sisters as well if you've not already. So those first four were all from the new metal box, not new metal box. I don't have one of those. From my 80s secondhand stuff. I've got Picture and Traitor. So this is their 1985 release on Backdoor Records. Now, Picture are a Dutch band from Rosenberg, which is near Rotterdam in Holland. they've kind of got the awkward heavy metal look. Dig the Tash on Shake there on drums. Now, I'm a big fan of Eternal Dark, which is their previous album. When I first heard this, it didn't click with me, so back it went to the inbox for a bit of time out, and I came back to it a few weeks later, and I definitely appreciate it more than I did. It's still not better than Eternal Dark. It's a couple of years on, so it's a bit more commercial metal sounding. Traitor, the title track, kicks off the album really well, but the rest of the album, the production just seems a little bit thin. The drums seem a little bit tinny, and it kind of fails to grab me completely. In fact, nearly the whole B-side is, if I get distracted by something, then I kind of forget it's on, and it's not until We Don't Need to Hide, the last track, which is kind of really, which is a lot heavier and atmospheric, kind of draws you back in and makes you think, oh yeah, that's that Picture album I put on. That's pretty good. But yeah, it's a bit more commercial, but it also has a bit of a 70s vibe to it. And considering these guys were formed in the 70s, I do wonder whether they've kind of either returned to type, or maybe a bit of back to basics for them, if they weren't able to keep up with the growing trend of heavier music that was being put out at the time. But the best tracks are Traitor, as I've mentioned, and Lost in the Night. But still a worthy album to pick up if you come across it. I certainly enjoy it. Pretty nondescript label, say Backdoor Records. Right. If you watched the live stream that me and the guys did on Contact in Blood channel, link below, we're also doing another one on Friday. Check it out if you can. I had the letter J, and I talked about Jack Starr and his album Out of the Darkness, and the fact there was a bit of a supergroup, had Rhett Forrester and a couple of the guys from the Rods in the band as well. Well, in 1985, Jack Starr's Burning Star, as they were now called, released Rock the American Way. Now, Out of Darkness was more of a solo effort, I feel, because, well, she just had its name. He's put together, the supergroup's gone, and this is more a band of, I'm guessing they were unknowns at the time. They certainly hadn't been in any bands of note up until that point. And this is Rock the American Way. It's a lot more commercial. It's a lot more, well, trying to think of another way to say commercial. It's a lot more commercial sounding, a lot more upbeat, a lot more kind of easy going. It's not as heavy. It's a bit more easy listening, but it starts off well with Rock and Roll It Is the American Way. But that's probably one of the best songs on the album. It doesn't really pick up from there. It's good. It's catchy. But as I say, it never really takes off until we get to Live Fast, Rock Hard. Of course, Jack Starr is the star on here again, and it's full of widdly guitar, wankery solos, which are worth the admission alone. So it's worth having it just for that if you do like a bit of overindulgent guitar solos chucked into your American metal. These, I think they're still going today, or they were recently reformed. They released, I think, a further 6 albums in the 80s and 3 more since they reformed in 2008. So if guitar woodliness is your thing, then check out Jack Starr's Burning Star. Jack Starr was originally in Virgin Steel. Yeah, this is Passport Records. It's a Canadian pressing from 1985. And Wizard. And the back. Sorry, switched off the camera. Schoolboy error. The last one today is a pretty famous band, but a band that a lot of people only know through their links with Metallica, or the fact that Metallica did covers of them, and I admit I'm probably in the same boat as that. But Canterbury was their 1983 release, and you could argue it's neither hard rock or heavy metal, but it is Diamond Head, and you can't argue about their place in rock history. Um, I think this album gets a lot of bad press, but I think people don't appreciate it because when they want to listen to Diamond Head, they want to listen to the stuff that inspired Metallica, the likes of I Am Evil, It's Electric, and Helpless. But it's not that. It's a bit more experimental. In fact, there's songs like Out of Phase it's almost a pop song now. If you're in the UK and you've heard of a band called the Housemartins, that song has a bit of a Housemartins vibe to it. This is 3 years before the Housemartins came along, so you can tell it's going to be very, very different from some of the heavier stuff. But I love this album. Sean Harris's voice, and I think there was only 2 official members left by then, so Sean Harris and Brian Tatler. Brian Tatler, yes. But Sean Harris sounds absolutely superb, and again, the songs on here are upbeat, they're melodic, and I love it. So, if you want Am I Evil, listen to Am I Evil. But this is Diamond Head, and it is a fantastic album by them. That's my sales pitch. This version that I've got does have the original lyric sheet, and on the other side is a free 8-page colour fan club and merchandising brochure, which you have to send away from a stamped addressed envelope. And also comes with a tour flyer from Alive in October. I presume this was going to be 1983. Didn't come to my hometown, but then I wasn't really listening to this stuff in 1983. And here we have on the MCA label. I flew through that a lot quicker than I was expecting. Let me know what you think of these 7. I enjoy them all, different degrees. Let me know what's your favourite here, or if there are any other albums from these bands I should be checking out. Again, check out the live stream on Contact in Blood that me and the guys are doing on Friday night, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.